Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
A family talks about why they filed a lawsuit in the death of a teenager who drowned in a pool at a Kentucky college.
A robbery at a local truck stop ends with shots being fired, and now one man accused in the crime says he didn't do it.
And how some local businesses are reaching out to help a man who was critically injured in a crash. Well, of those stories and more, and breaking news as it happens, coming up on WKYT This Morning. Hey, very early good morning to you and welcome. It's good to have you along on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. For the first track on the weather today, let's turn to meteorologist Micah Harris.
Well, we're looking outside. Guess what? Surprise, surprise, another crystal clear morning. You see every single star out there. It's a beautiful morning, and it's chilly too once again. We kick off the morning with temperatures there in the 40s for many locations. There's a beautiful shot of Hamburg. 45 there in Danville, 43 in Mount Sterling. That takes the cake for this morning so far. We'll see how it turns out, but 40s and 50s are the mark outside. There you are. Today's forecast is 76. Still very, very comfortable for this time of year. That's right around average. And average continues to drop as we go throughout the days because the days are getting shorter, or daylight hours, I should say, are getting shorter throughout the next couple of months. And also going in toward the weekend, we're going to continue to see our temperatures rise each and every day, maybe even seeing some 80s. And I'll show you that weekend forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see you shortly. Thank you.
Well, negligence in unsafe conditions, that's what the parents of a 13-year-old say caused their son's death.
Ricky Harris drowned while swimming in a pool on the Transylvania University campus back in June. He'd been there to attend a summer camp. On Tuesday, we obtained the lawsuit and the video. The family's lawyer says will prove the case. WKYT's Jerica Insko has that story.
You have a dozen kids in a swimming pool with 2 lifeguards.
13-year-old Ricky Harris of Frankfort was one of those kids attending a week-long academic summer camp at Transylvania University.
The math tells you that nothing should happen.
But something did on June 23rd. Harris was found on the bottom of the university's indoor pool at the Willie T. Young Campus Center during a supervised recreational break.
You're talking about a 13-year-old that was not only a great little student, but a great little athlete.
The family's attorney out of Louisville has reviewed the surveillance video many times, which shows Harris enter the pool at the shallow end. Once he makes his way to the deep end, you see Harris become distressed and then drown. It's something the young teen's parents cannot bear to watch as their son lies in the bottom of the pool for more than 10 minutes unnoticed.
They're not paying attention to the pool.
He's pointing to the video, which he says proves one lifeguard was distracted, and that's why the Harris family has filed a civil suit against the university, camp counselor, and 2 lifeguards on duty, saying the parties involved were negligent and reckless and now liable for their boy losing his life.
She's on her computer, she's on her phone doing whatever she's doing. Admittedly so.
The lawsuit papers point at several reasons why this is a wrongful death, like the act of leaving Harris unattended, unprotected, and unsupervised, an unsafe atmosphere with no buoys separating the shallow and deep ends of the pool, and lifeguards not properly responding to his distress, failing to rescue him.
Don't just brush this aside. Terrible accident, and not learn from it and do something about it.
It's a case they're ready to fight in court, saying someone needs to be held accountable for this 7th grader's death. In Lexington, Jerica Insko, WKYT.
And Transylvania University released a statement saying, quote, as a community, our thoughts and prayers remain with the family, and we continue to mourn their loss with them. Even as this tragedy has moved into the courtroom, we will continue to support them as best we can. But as is our policy, we cannot comment further on pending legal matters. Other news, a man is in the hospital after being stabbed, and police say his girlfriend is the culprit. It happened overnight on Wim Court, that's near Manowar at East Tiverton. The man had stab wounds to his chest. They've arrested his girlfriend at the scene on outstanding warrants. Police think the two got into an argument before the stabbing.
New this morning, a state police arson investigator is expected back at the scene of a fire at a vacant gas station. Firefighters spent hours at the old Leach's Shell Mart in Lincoln County last night battling a large fire. Reports in the Interior Journal say that witnesses told police they heard a loud popping noise and saw a white pickup truck leave the scene shortly before the fire began. The Interior Journal also says that arson investigators were already looking into several illegal burns at that same gas station. Well, we are hearing from a man police say tried to rob a Clark County truck stop. Winchester police say the owner of the 96 truck stop shot one of the suspects after he pulled a gun yesterday. Police also arrested Curtis Wilkerson, who was with the suspect at the time. When our Garrett Weimer sat down with Wilkerson in jail, he told us he's an innocent man.
From inside the Clark County Detention Center, Curtis Wilkerson says he shouldn't be here.
I didn't rob the place. I didn't plan on robbing the place. I told him don't rob the place. He didn't listen to me.
Wilkerson admits he was with the other suspect at the 96 truck stop, but claims he wasn't part of the robbery.
So next thing you know, all I hear is gunshot. I ducked, just like everybody else. I ducked.
Wilkerson says he's innocent, claiming that police are simply harassing him and writing this letter to try to get his story out.
Dear members, I, Curtis Wilkerson, am innocent. I went to the 96 truck stop to eat some breakfast.
Wilkerson says the other suspect told him he was going to rob the truck stop, but Wilkerson told him not to. Then Wilkerson says the suspect put a gun to his head.
This was supposed to be my friend, but I feared for my life.
Wilkerson says he shouldn't be in jail, telling me he wants to be with his 2-year-old son.
I feel pain that's inside me. Really, I do want to cry. I really want to cry it out, honestly. I want to be a better father. I'm 21. I want something out of life.
In Winchester, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Well, police say the 2 men involved in yesterday's robbery could also be connected to the robbery of a cab driver earlier this week. Wilkerson says he didn't do that either.
We're learning some new details about the former Lexington firefighter accused of DUI and assault in that case. Police say Jared McCargo ran over several people outside the Beer Trap in Chevy Chase Friday night. The Herald Leader now reports that McCargo is wanted on a DUI charge out of Cobb County, Georgia. The warrant was issued in June of 2002 and remains active. The city fired McCargo from his position with the Lexington Fire Department earlier this week. Meanwhile, the owner of a bar that was hit is stepping up to help one of the patrons who was seriously hurt in that crash. $1 from every beer draft sold at the Beer Trap today will be donated to Noel Espino and his family. Espino had stepped outside Friday night to answer a call when he was hit by an SUV. He had critical injuries. West 6 Brewery and Athenian Grill will also match the donations raised at Beer Trap. Rooster Brewing Company in Paris will hold a similar fundraiser today.
Well, today, family, friends, and the community will say goodbye to a fallen firefighter. Funeral services will be held today for Tony Grider. His visitation was last night at Columbia Christian Church in Adair County. Grider died on Saturday. He'd been fighting to stay alive for a month since being shocked by power lines while helping out with an ice bucket challenge. Firefighters from all over the country are here to honor Grider. The cemetery is 13 miles from the funeral home. More than 200 vehicles are expected to escort him there. The service starts at 11 o'clock Central Time, noon, that is here.
A man accused of attacking 2 disabled adults and his wife is in jail. Brian Doan turned himself in yesterday afternoon. Somerset police say the adults were attacked while under Doan's care at a home on Kentucky 3091. It's operated by Star Support Services. Court records indicate Doan as the program's director. Doan also briefly worked as a police officer in both Berea and in Mount Vernon. Community members had a chance to learn more about a major road project that's proposed. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet held a meeting about the expansion of the Mountain Parkway in Wolfe County last night. The state wants to expand the 30 miles between Campton and Prestonsburg from 2 lanes to 4.
We want to improve the ability to transport goods and services, as well as enable the people of eastern Kentucky to transport themselves back and forth between Pikeville and Lexington.
The expansion will cost more than $700 million, and it could take 6 to 10 years to complete.
A special event honored people who've died serving our country. The Kentucky National Guard Memorial Dinner was held at Malone's on Tates Creek. Special guests included former Wildcat Tayshaun Prince and Major General Edward Tonini of the Kentucky National Guard. The National Guard hopes to open a memorial in Frankfort to honor the fallen this November.
It's good to have you with us. It's 4:40 now, 20 before 5 here on WKYT, and we're just getting started with your morning news.
Well, young people are more likely than ever to develop type 2 diabetes. Moms Every Day has some startling statistics up next.
Crystal clear start out and about. Looks great. And yeah, another chilly start to the day. Heading into the afternoon, we get warmer and warmer each and every day. And I'll show you that forecast coming up.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris and First Alert Defender.
Things look really good outside, and the rest of the work week looks fantastic. But the weekend, it's a little dicey. We do have a chance of rain. It's not a big chance, but it is a chance. And let's go through all of it. Richmond, I-75 looks great. It looks like the cars are flowing very well. Off in the distance, typically when you see those lights, well, you have no problems with fog. So I don't see any widespread fog. No dense fog out and about. There's some good news for you. It's 43 right now in Mount Sterling. If you work your way, say, into Paris or Cynthiana, Carlisle, Flemingsburg, things are pretty chilly this morning, sitting there in the 40s. Go down south just a little bit, and you're still Danville at 45, Waynesburg, Liberty, Somerset, Science Hill. We're sitting there in the 40s. Now, work your way across 75, and you can see Richmond at 48, even Renfro Valley coming out in the upper 40s. So your 24-hour forecast, it's a crisp start to the day. There's no doubt about that. And look, this is the last morning, or tomorrow morning is actually the last morning that we're going to see the 40s. Then we slowly increase our temperatures off toward the weekend. But before that, a lot of sunshine to be had and mid-70s. It's getting warmer. And you'll feel it today. Look, it's not going to be warm today, but it'll be warmer than the past couple of days. Past couple of days have been phenomenal, but no issues whatsoever for today and really going in toward tomorrow. Let's talk about Friday night football. Very mild, 73 degrees once we kick off, because the high that day is going to be right there around that 80-degree reading. So, yeah, at kickoff, it's going to be mild. Once that sun sets, let's don't call it cool. Let's just call it very pleasant. And that's what we're going to be seeing second half at 67. You might want to take a long sleeve shirt just in case. But for the most part, you throw on some jeans, maybe some slacks, and you'll be all right heading out to those football games. It will be dry, too. So check out your weekend planner. Saturday looks great. Sitting there, still dry. Still a small chance of rain on Sunday. And that's going to be your dicey situation that I was talking about earlier. It's not a lot, but it is there. But no issues anytime soon. Still looks for beautiful weather. And we'll close in on around 80 degrees there on Saturday. Big game, UK taking on Vandy. That's going to be later on that evening. Tailgating looks great. To be warm that day, though. Long sleeves, nah, not an issue, especially as we were going throughout the daytime hours. Nighttime, I still don't see it being an issue, being cool. So, yeah, I just think it's going to be beautiful weather there on Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's when a front kind of moves on in. Actually, from the south. It's not coming from the north, coming from the south, so that'll give us a good chance at rain heading in toward next week. But until then, it's beautiful. No issues.
Yeah, got to enjoy those temperatures.
Looks good, man.
Yeah,
very
all right.
nice.
Thank you very much, Micah.
Yep.
The time is 4:46. Obesity and lower life expectancies are to blame for an expected rise in type 2 diabetes.
Moms Everyday correspondent Amanda Lanham has more on that. 2 out of 5 Americans born between 2000 and 2011 are expected to develop type 2 diabetes in their lifetime. In today's Moms Everyday Minute, the startling new statistic, which is double the rate for men and 50% higher for women born 2 decades earlier. According to the study, higher life expectancies coupled with higher rates of obesity are contributing factors. Hispanics and black women are even more likely to develop the disease. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, more than 29 million people in the U.S. have diabetes, most of them with type 2. Now, type 2 diabetes is preventable, and it can be controlled through healthier eating habits and regular exercise. It is imperative to instill healthy behaviors in children and teens to set them on the right path. For more health information, visit momseveryday.com. For these tips and more, go to WKYT.com. Click on Moms Every Day.
4:47 now on WKYT this morning. Hey, it's good to have you along with us as we get you updated on all the latest on your Wednesday.
President Barack Obama addresses the UN General Assembly today, and ISIS is, of course, at the top of the agenda.
Welcome back in. It's 4:50 on WKYT this morning.
President Barack Obama will take center stage at the United Nations today. He'll be addressing global concerns during a General Assembly speech.
Marley Hall is at the United Nations and reports the president will also be chairing a special Security Council meeting that's aimed at stopping foreign fighters from joining groups like ISIS.
President Obama will stand before more than 140 heads of state and government at the United Nations today and address global issues. At the top of the list, ISIS. The U.S., along with Arab allies, began launching airstrikes against ISIS targets inside Syria Monday night. The first strikes in a sustained campaign to defeat the terror group. Yesterday, the president met with representatives from the 5 nations who participated.
I think we now have an opportunity to send a very clear message that the world is united.
Airstrikes targeted ISIS communication, training, and supply centers.
They will adapt to what we've done and seek to address their shortfalls and gaps against our air campaign in the coming weeks.
President Obama will also chair a Security Council meeting here at the UN today. Members are expected to adopt a resolution that would require countries to pass laws to try to prevent their citizens from joining terrorist groups.
The threat of foreign terrorist fighters is very real, and we have to start with the uncomfortable reality that security measures alone will not solve this problem.
The National Counterterrorism Center estimates 15,000 foreign fighters have traveled to the Middle East to join groups like ISIS. Marley Hall, CBS News, New York.
And U.S. airstrikes in Syria also targeted a second terrorist group called Khorasan. Officials say that group may have been trying to recruit Westerners to carry out attacks against the West.
Virginia authorities have filed charges against a man thought to be the last person seen with a missing University of Virginia student. Hannah Graham was last seen on September 13th. She's seen on surveillance video, and police think she entered a bar with the suspect, Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. He'd been under surveillance, but on Saturday he evaded officers who were following him. The vicious enterovirus has spread to 30 states now. D68, as it's also called, is particularly harmful to children. Officials say the opening of more schools may be responsible for the recent increase in cases. Kids with enterovirus often display cold-like symptoms, but the virus can swell their air passages, making it difficult and painful to breathe. The virus progresses rapidly, with children going from healthy to severely ill in just a day. Kentucky's had at least 5 confirmed enterovirus cases.
Our time this morning now 4:53. Good to have you along. And coming up in just a moment, a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
And we'll also have another look at your forecast.
Good morning, 4:56, the time on WKYT this morning.
It is time to take a look at some of the stories we're working on this morning.
Hundreds of firefighters from across the nation are expected to join family and friends of firefighter Tony Grider to say goodbye later today. Grider died Saturday after a month-long fight for life. He was badly burned while helping with an ice bucket challenge at Campbellsville University. His funeral begins at 11 o'clock Central Time, and more than 200 vehicles are expected to line the route from the funeral home in Adair County, where his service is being held, to the cemetery where he will be laid to rest.
At least 4 businesses are offering a portion of their proceeds to help a crash victim. Noel Espino is in the hospital with critical injuries. He was hit outside the Beer Trap in Chevy Chase on Friday night. Today, the Beer Trap, West 6 Brewery, and Athenian Grill in Lexington will donate a portion of proceeds to help Espino with his recovery. Rooster Brewing in Paris will hold a similar fundraiser.
We have had some beautiful weather lately, and it continues for the foreseeable future, at least heading toward the weekend. Let's check in with Micah right now on that.
That's exactly right. And toward the weekend, though, it looks great. I mean, I'm really not seeing any indication of rain anytime soon. Frankfort Cam looks good out there. No real fog issues, so you're good to go there. 40s and 50s out and about, so as you're walking out the door, it's once again a cool start. It's not as chilly as it was yesterday morning, but it's still pretty cool outside. By the afternoon, mid-70s. It's getting warmer each and every day. Typically, that means some rain, but do we see it anytime soon? I'll show you that forecast coming up, and we'll go into further detail, too, because we have another 2 hours of WKYT News. Stick with us. We'll be right back here just a couple of minutes, but first, there's a live look outside of Hamburg. Beautiful morning. We'll see you back in just a couple of minutes.